Bam. How are you? How are you tonight? It's Saturday night, and I'm streaming with you. Now it says I've been live for 1 minute and 5 seconds or longer. That's not what my recollection was. But let me just tell you the rush around the house in the last, 5 minutes. There was an article that I wanted to go over with you that I read this morning that then I thought it would be on where I was going to look, and it wasn't there. And so I started scrambling around trying to find it. I found it, and then I noticed I didn't have a beverage. And like if you have a cough or something, no beverage, that's not going to work. That's not going to be working at all. So I had to run upstairs into a different room. I knew where I'd put it, but I just forgot it when I was down here. So just rushing around. But you know what? I'm excited. I had a lot of work today that I did as far as outdoor work. I was cutting the grass. We're still in the spring cleaning situation here at my house. So I was outside all day and just trying to get it done. Did some work around the brokerage, and then, now I'm here. I'm excited to be here. I hope to make it through. Last night got a little tight there at the end. Got a little tired. The eyes started to get a little bit droopy, and it was bad. So hopefully I'll do better tonight. Last night also, when I got done, my back was hurting. I don't know what that was about. Tonight, when I get done, I'm not changing out the thumbnail. I'm not redoing the script, and I'm not going to be around tomorrow night. That's right. I'm taking Sunday off. I'm not streaming at all. No podcast, no nothing. Will I be doing the real estate business? Yes. But that's because it's always on the weekends and it's always in the evening. So that's just part of being a real estate agent. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is John Schenk, and I am the founder and managing broker of Deerwood Realty, a small residential brokerage firm in St. Louis, Missouri. And we help buyers buy homes. We help sellers sell homes. But, as the founder and managing broker, I've found that I've been attracted to what I call our nature of employment. That is, what is it that we're doing? Why do we what is this about? I help out buyers all the time who have great jobs. And then some of them have terrible jobs and they go do them. And my own experience with work has been, I guess what I'd say is spotty. I never really fit the mold. I never graduated college and then got this great gig, and then 2.5 kids with a dog and a house. My life's just never been that way, and I've always been kind of an entrepreneur. I started a few businesses, and they didn't go very well. Fell into real estate because I saw an opportunity and took it, and now I do have my own brokerage. I am happy about that, but I like to talk about business. I like to talk about employment situations. I like to talk about how we are as humans, and then what happens to us when we go to work. What changes? Why do we turn into evil people? Do we turn into evil people? I've tried not to. Over my career. Try to be a decent person, everybody I come across. And so that's why I'm amazed when I read some of these stories about how terrible people are, or these allegations. I cannot believe that people would act this way. Good family people, not family people, anybody. Why are you acting like this? Why are you being a jerk? And then how companies kind of are terrible. I don't run a charity, but compared to some of the government and big business connections, this is just evil. And I think it's time to call them out on it when we can. It wasn't this way when I was younger. We had the military industrial complex, of course, but it did not permeate into big pharma. And we didn't have other world powers exerting significant influence on our government, and then the people don't even get to know about it. So these are new things, and maybe if we can shine a light on them, perhaps someday something will be done. It probably won't be by our politicians because they're terrible. Let's be honest. And don't give me the Republicans are great and Democrats are terrible. Don't switch it. Believe me, that's not going to work either. Our political system, as far as representative government might be broken. I mean, for instance, if I vote for someone, you know, will they do what I thought they're supposed to do? Not very often. Not very often. So, yeah, it's bad. It's bad out there. So, anyway, getting into, I mean, we're 6 minutes in. Let's get into the action. I'd love for you to subscribe. Let me just explain what happened. I used to get all these spam bots that used to come into my chat, and it would be in like weird languages, and it would be like dirty, links. And I don't like that. I want you to be a part of the chat. If you're a normal person, or even if you're not a normal person, but if you can just be respectful to everybody around you, jump in the chat and let's enjoy it together. But I'm not interested in the Russian spam stuff. It's just not, and I say Russian, but it's in Cyrillic, so I don't know that it's Russian. It could be any language that's using Cyrillic. But when you say, well, what other languages do you select? Well, Serbian, which is Bosnian, which is Croatian, which is Serbo-Croatian. But anyway, other people use Cyrillic alphabet, so don't just think it's Russian. That's maybe that's wrong with me. But anyway, what I wanted to do tonight is I think we're going to do it a certain way. I have this. Well, let's talk about what we're going to do. I have this one thing that was in my head that I want to talk about. And we're going to talk about that first. Then I was on Google this morning, and an article popped out at me that was totally inappropriate for the real estate live stream, but it's perfect for tonight. And we're going to dive into that one first. I think that's going to be a great story to talk about. Then we're going to talk about things like in Canada, their daycare workers are leaving in droves. And the article is from the Globe and Mail, and it's going to tell us why. And I'm always fascinated by that. I was talking to someone today, and they said to me, if I have to leave because of this thing, I think there's 2 other employees that are coming with me, meaning they're leaving. And then there's another one that may. I thought that was a fascinating thing. Myself, when I've had jobs, I've always been in business for myself, in the sense that, like, I was working, you were paying me, I was working, I'll be part of the team and everything. I'll be friendly with people and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I have to answer for my own actions. And I never got the impression that if I left an organization, people would go with me. And I would also never want them to. If you want to leave an organization because of something you feel uncomfortable about, you leave. No problem. Me, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. If someone comes at me, if the writing's on the wall, let's say a new manager comes in and they're a terrible manager and they make everything miserable, and you're not getting any production done, you're not doing anything tangible, you're not growing, your skills aren't growing, your attitude for work is going down, and it's because of this manager, maybe it's time to move on. So we'll talk about that. But then I think we're going to talk about Top Golf. They did something that was fascinating on a settlement. That does not mean that they were found guilty in a court of law, but they did settle. And then the next article I thought was interesting is there's a disconnect in theory between the employer and employee feeling the Great Resignation. That's the article that is the title. I don't know if that's true, and we'll find out. The other thing is there's another article out there that says over 70% of workers regret quitting during the Great Resignation. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know what's going on, but I thought it important. I thought it nice to talk about these topics, and I wanted to bring you along with me. So yeah, that's where I am. Sometimes you wonder, well, John, what are you doing tonight? But let's get into the first topic, and it could go all night, but I'm starting, fresh tonight. And as you know, like, it takes me a while to get into the swing of things. And so maybe it'll be a forward sentence and we'll be out of here. But let me propose this to you. Okay. There's something wrong with the concept of you grow up and you're supposed to take this job, and this job somehow defines you for the rest of your life. Like, it defines who you are. And that doesn't seem to be right. And also, let's talk about this odd situation. Odd because I don't understand it. So odd to me. Let's say you see somebody walking down the street, and let's say 2 people. One of the people can't hold a job. Never been able to hold a job. Also doesn't seem to care. I mean, they're just like, it didn't work out. Okay. And And then there's another person and they have a job. And for some reason, at least in my mind, there's a bias there. For me, I'm much more interested in the person that has the job than the person that can't keep the job, even if we're friends. And I just wanted to explore why I think that might be. For one, I understand the feeling, and I'm going to try and explain the feeling to you. I work a lot, and as a commissioned salesperson, I get paid only on my commissions. Now you say, John, you run the brokerage, so you get to have a cut of other people's commissions who are working for you. And that would be true if I didn't run such a small operation where I technically am the, if I don't bring in clients, if I don't close deals, I don't eat. I mean, it's a one-to-one relationship. I've always felt that best. I always felt like that's the best chance you have of getting something done right, is if you can look somebody in the eye and know that they're responsible for every aspect of a transaction. So if we were to grow, you would have a one-to-one contact. We would never do a team situation where you would get passed around. I just can't imagine such a silly concept. And so we wouldn't do it. But anyway, because I work and because things have not always gone right for me in the employment world, I have a tremendous amount of respect for the people that go to work every day and get it done. Okay. And so I feel like I relate to those people. I feel like that's the important thing. And so when I see someone who can't do it, who just refuses to go to work, refuses to put in a good effort at work, I get irritated. I get really irritated. And it's internally because I feel like you're almost fighting with me. Does that sound strange? Maybe it does. Like, why is it okay for you not to go to work when I'm out here busting my butt? That's how it feels. And so I've had this with family members. I've had family members that aren't doing what I feel like they should be doing. That they just aren't getting it done. And it drives me crazy. And I'm not joking. Why am I busting my butt for you to sit there and not do anything? That doesn't make sense to me. So in the context of, having just any job, that doesn't cut it. That's the other thing. I don't know about you, but do you believe in such things as underemployment and overemployment? The idea that the job you have is below you or above you. I don't particularly think that way. However, when I look at other people, I do think in that direction. People would probably look at me as a failure of a massive scale because I have an MBA, I have a master's in real estate and construction management, and yet I'm only running my own organization, my own brokerage. I should be doing more. The pay would be better if I went and worked for somebody else, but I can't. And you guys know it. You see it. It's impossible for me to be forced into a box because I can't deal with it. Now, I respect those people that can go to work. I have a significant amount of respect for those people. And I have a nose itch that's just crazy this evening. Anyway, so then we get to the issue of this underemployment. So how many people are chronically underemployed in the United States? And how do we define underemployment? I think that my definition of underemployment would be something along the lines of capable of doing so much more and not being compensated for it and not being in a position where you can take advantage of it. We're all born with unique gifts and unique abilities. I know mine. And let's be honest, some of them are just not things that people are going to pay for. There's no reason to pay for it. But one of the things that I've talked about with you before, and one of the things that I truly believe is that there are people in organizations that get things done. And by get things done, I mean, they're on it. They do a fine job. And then there's people in organizations that chat. Essentially, they talk a big game. Their resume may be stacked. They may have a great vocabulary, but they are also the people that hinder other people from getting work done. I experienced this in an organization recently, and it was so obvious to me, the situation, I guess by my experience, that it just turned my stomach. And so let's go over that. I knew a lady, fantastic woman. I have seen her work in person, and I know the organization she works for inside and out. Well, they employed, she had a boss and that boss left. And the boss that was there, that lady was amazing. So bright, so bright. And so when she left, my friend, my pal, my buddy got a new boss. And I just I'm sorry, I had a work text. They brought this woman in. First of all, the organization always has trouble hiring people because they're typically not the highest paying position. So they tend to get not the best. And by not the best, I mean not even close. Then the person that they hired, sometimes they pick certain groups to be hired over others. It's really bad. So they hired this group based not on their qualifications, but just basically groups. So they hired this person, and the person that had left was so bright and so brilliant, and the organization they understood right away that they could not possibly replace that worker, and so what they did is they split the job into two. And my friend ended up working for this new person that had come in the organization brand new, which I'll be honest with you, that's a tough gig. If you're going to be a manager of people and people in the organization have already have been there for years, you're in a bad spot because they understand the culture way better than you do. And so in an ideal situation, if you're a manager and you're going to go in an organization, you should kind of keep your mouth shut for a little bit, and you should learn everything you possibly can about everyone. And when you think you've learned everything, then you need to sit there and pause for another couple months. And you say, well, John, we don't have a couple months for me to be quiet. I have to get out there and I have to fire people. I have to really show them how we're going to change things. I have to shake up the culture. Not a good plan. Not a good plan most places. It's a surefire way to make you hated and not respected and not be a good manager. But anyway, they brought this woman in who is not a doer. She's a thinker, and she's a ponderer. And I like ponder. I mean, I'm a thinker and a ponderer myself, but I do understand that you have to do things. Okay. I do understand that you have to produce. She's not so good at that. So this woman is now on top of a woman that produces, a woman that gets things done. And rather than be amazed that you have a person like this that you're managing, that you really don't have to manage because they will do everything and they will do it well, you decide that you need to know everything about this person, as far as you need to watch them like a hawk. You need to be suspicious about their every move. And then you need to limit their ability to get things done. As if that's somehow good management. Like you're taking someone that was perfectly fine and doing an outstanding job. And I know this girl could do anything, anywhere. Like, I don't care what the qualifications are for the job. She could do it. She's just amazing. Maybe not like, she's not going to lift like 100-pound bags of flour or anything like that. That's not where she really is. But for the most part, this lady gets it done. And anyway, long story short, you put this person on top of someone that is a doer, and you've created a situation where now the whole organization suffers because you're not getting the production out of the person that used to get things done because they're busy having to run around and do stupid tasks that the manager puts forth on them. Meanwhile, they watch them. It's like they're watching over their shoulder the whole time and making up decrees that are dumb. And so I guess my point there is simply, you want to have doers in an organization. At the end of the day, you want to have people that get things done. And those people are rare, and we should praise them and help them at any point in time we get. And these people that are what I would call the laptop class, the credential class, dicey group of people, spend more time at work figuring out ways not to work than actually working. I have disdain for these people. I'm not going to lie to you. I have disdain for anybody that hinders the ability of people below them to get their work done. I just can't stand it. Let's go to another story that I have before we get into the heavy thing. If I could put a closure on the point of, it's not okay to have any job. You can't be underemployed. You have to be overemployed in the sense that you have to be always challenged in your employment, or you'll be bored and miserable. Now, I did want to go in one direction. I'm going to switch up real quick because I want to tell you something that happened to me today. I was at Menards, okay? And I'm not going to tell you which Menards because I don't want you to know. I don't want the guy to get fired. But my wife and I were there, and I like Menards. I do. I like hardware stores in general, big box retailers that are hardware stores, Lowe's. My least favorite one, just so you know, my least favorite hardware store is the Home Depot. Why? I don't know. It just feels like low class, if there can be such a thing. Stores are always dirty. The organization of the stores is not great. The lighting is usually terrible. And the product selection is dicey compared to Lowe's and compared to Menards. Menards, I love Menards, and I can't understand why. It's not better than Lowe's in a way, but in a way it's just 10 times better than Lowe's. So anyway, I was at Menards. My wife and I were parked. We were getting out of the car, and there was a young man inside the cart shed. If you've ever been to Menards, you know the cart shed. And he was on the phone talking to somebody. He was working for Menards. There was no question. We go in and we're shopping, and I don't think anything of it really, other than, you know, it's kind of weird to stand underneath a guard, a cart shed. It's kind of weird. The language that he was using was colorful. So then we walk around the store. We buy what we want to buy. My wife wanted trail mix. And the fact that you can buy trail mix in Menards, and I bought rabbit fencing. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. We looked at cushions, and we looked at the nursery. But anyway, we get back, and this is about an hour and a half later. We get back to the car. The guy still got his Menards thing on. Still working for Menards, still talking on the phone inside the cart shed. To me, that's time theft. I mean, like, you were supposed to put the carts together. You were supposed to go back inside and get some more work done. And meanwhile, you're out here talking on the phone, not doing a darn thing. And you say, well, the guy could be on break. No, let's call it what it is. It's time theft. And I don't appreciate that. I have disdain for time theft. Now, there's two kind of different types of jobs. There's these jobs where you are paid to produce something, and then there's these jobs where you're paid to, over time contribute to something. This guy, his job was to get the carts all together and put them in the building. Like, do that. Get that done. I don't have any sympathy for someone that goes and works somewhere and then doesn't get the work done. It's time theft. Don't come at me with, and by the way, I want you to know enough about me over time. And that is, look, to me, it's okay to hate your job. It's okay to, if you say, I don't like this job, I quit. That's totally fine. Okay. You don't stay on company time, hating the job, not doing it, finding ways to avoid the job. That's not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it. Guy should have been fired on the spot. I know why I was sitting in the cart sheds, because they probably can't see him on the cameras. And I'm pretty sure that Menards has cameras everywhere. So anyway, I feel like if you get paid to go do a job, you should go do it. You can question the morality or the ethics of the job you have at all times, and you can leave. I think that's totally okay. One of my big problems right now with employment in general is, look, people are working all around the world, okay? But we don't have standardized rules, really. Some companies you can work 4 10-hour days. Some places you can work like all the time. Sometimes, you can't make more than someone else in an organization, or so many multiples more. I'm not advocating for worldwide similarities with employment law, but what I think I am asking for is, can we get to a point where there's some sort of understanding? Like, for instance, and I've told you how many times I can't stand when someone working at their job gets attacked by either a customer or some random and is either injured severely and can't go back to work, or is actually killed on the job. There's something about that that's so revolting to me internally that I feel like across the world, like, that should be something we just don't accept. We just don't accept. But there's got to be employment law out there in the world somewhere that makes some sort of sense. It sure as heck isn't in the United States, okay? There's no way. Our laws were written, a hodgepodge of laws written in the 1920s. And I mean, labor law is really bad. I mean, it's got there's state statutes, and then there's federal statutes, and it's just a mess. And we talk about like things like the gig economy. So that is the idea that you're a freelancer, which I think makes a lot of sense. But then you have countries. Then you have states like California that restrict gig workers on purpose. Now, why? Possibly because of union influence. I don't have a problem with union influence if it's out in the open. I don't like backroom dealings in any way with regard to politics and union labor or big business in general. I don't like the backroom politicking. So you've got California restricting, the gig workers, which are the freelancers, which I think is ridiculous. And then, we were reading yesterday that there's no federal law that requires lunch breaks and like a 15-minute break every couple hours. It's not a federal law. It's not a requirement. I just think that's crazy. Now you may say, John, you read it wrong. Well, maybe I did, but I mean, I did read it. So anyway, so we have the shed situation. Now I'm going to tell you one other story about a very different situation, but in the same sort of sphere. Okay, you're familiar with like large national coffee chains. I won't say the name, but they're going through some stuff right now, and she would go work them. Loved the organization, loved everything about it, and that organization selected a new manager for the particular location. The first thing that manager did was cut the lady's hours, and I believe yesterday or the day before, she resigned, and I'm just torn up about it. They say managers make or break organizations. That people don't necessarily leave an organization; they leave the managers that are just terrible. And for this large national coffee chain to not figure out, like, they've been in business for a long time, the fact that they pulled what they pulled with this employee who wanted to work there, who would have gotten, I think, a tattoo on her shoulder to show her support for this organization, to come in then and bring in a manager that's just killing the environment and just killing that particular location. I mean to tell you, that is ridiculous. And so when I see that these certain companies are fighting union influences, I can see why they're having problems. I can see why. There was a time when they were considered some of the more compassionate workers, compassionate employees in the United States. That time has passed. They may be stuck in the mid-2000s, and they may need a severe overhaul. I don't know that unionization is the answer, but all I can say is when you take employees who are excited about their job, who want to go to work, who want to work extra hours, not a 40-hour week by any stretch of the imagination, but just, hey, are you slow? Let me pick up some hours. I'd be happy to. And then you find a manager that's so miserable that makes them want to leave. You're a terrible, terrible organization for doing that. And the manager should be fired immediately. And you should ask the employees why they couldn't stand the manager. Okay. So that's, I think you can fill in the dots there. Boy, let's check and see if you can even hear me. I didn't even get around to checking. Okay, you can. It's really weird. I turned my microphone down, and yet because of the AI audio on Streamlabs, nope, this is StreamYard. I have StreamYard. Sorry. It's amazing how much different it is. I just saw a button and I'm pressing it because I wanted to see it. Okay. Well, I think we should get into an article. I think I've waited long enough. Let's get into it. Do I want to frame it before we talk about it? Yes. Yes, I do. Let me see if I do this. Okay, nothing's happening. All right, good. Because I'm gonna change over a minute. But let me just point this out. In my business, in real estate, it's not unusual to be recruited pretty much all the time. I will have, even though I have my own brokerage, even though things are great, I will have companies dedicated to literally calling me and my employees and asking me to move to a different organization. It normally doesn't start with, hey, it doesn't start with the ask. It normally says, let's go have dinner. Let's go have lunch. Let's go have a coffee. Tell me about your struggles and I'll help you get them fixed. And normally that help is, hey, you should come work for this brokerage. Now, there are some brokerages that are killing it right now because they're offering compensation packages to high performers that are better than anywhere else. But I have it on record as knowing that those benefits to those agents are going to go away because that's how they're going to make money. That's how the corporation is going to make money, the franchise. So this isn't different. Let me tell you what happens when you're a real estate agent at an organization that's large. You go work there, and let's say that you're a top producer. Well, unfortunately, you've probably used the company email system, and so all of your contacts are now in the corporate system. And so you may think at first, isn't that great? The company's marketing on my behalf, and they are. But when you leave, what do you think happens to all those contacts? Do you think they let those phone numbers and contact information just go away or go with you? No. The minute that you leave, they hand that information to someone else, and they say, call these people and introduce yourself, and you may get some business. And usually the person tasked with calling and everything is a young real estate agent who isn't familiar with, what's really going on there, which is cannibalization of your business by your own employer. So that's what happens. But here, look, we all like to be recruited. Okay. We all like to be recruited. Because it's flattering, right? Someone wants us to work for them. How great is that? They've recognized that we're hard workers. So anyway, and then the other thing is when you do get recruited, you have to be careful because like if they want you to be there, they will tell you everything about the organization. They'll tell you anything you want to hear. So let's say it goes like something like, hey, if I move there, are there going to be like benefits? Oh, yes. What are your benefits now? Oh, they're this, and this. Oh, we'll beat it by double. I mean, it's that bad. It starts off like, hey, you should come work here. And then it's just like, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do this, we'll do that. And my experience has been people lie. They're not going to do any of those things, or they're not going to follow through on anything. One of the biggest lies is going to be from what the recruiter reads about you. So let's say that you have a Facebook post and you went to the art museum and you had a famous, I'm going to say black. I don't know if it's African-American or black anymore. I don't know the appropriate terms. It was African-American for me when I was growing up. So anyway, let's go with African-American because that's what I grew up with. If that's still the right term, I don't know. But anyway, so an African-American art exhibit, and you take pictures of it, okay? Well, don't be surprised if the recruiter says something along the lines of, hey, we really, really expect, or we really, really like diversity and tolerance. It's our top mission here at the organization. Now, what does that mean? you know, you value, diversity and tolerance. And what does that really mean? Like, how does that manifest itself? It's really racist. But they'll do it because they want a warm body. But don't be surprised if they steal your clients. Don't be surprised if you come on board and they're absolutely totally lied the whole time and they don't do anything and follow through with what they said they would. That's just what I know. And how do I put it? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. But anyway, I guess some people are needing that. So let's read our first article of the night. I have to press a button. One will be pressed. We will go here and we will go here. And you should be able to see it now. Oh, sorry. It says JP Morgan, billion-dollar advisor, accuses bank of misogyny in U.S. complaint. Gwen Campbell claims she was subject to sexist tropes. JP Morgan says the court already ruled on many of these issues. Now, I have read through this once, okay? And I don't know that the part that says JP Morgan says court already ruled on many of these issues. I don't know. I didn't see that the last time. Also, remember, these are allegations, accusations. So we don't know if it's true or not. And my understanding is when you do formally sue or write an allegation, what you're trying to do is get some sort of sympathy from the judge, the general public, someone that will allow you to let your suit go forward. That's what I'm to understand. All the lawyers out there that are watching this in the future, if I said that wrong, please get in touch with me. We can stream together. Okay, here we go. A JP Morgan Chase & Company financial advisor accused the bank of harboring a culture of unchecked greed, avarice, and misogyny. Now, I'm going to look up what avarice is because I don't know. Do you know? Do you know? I'm going to go straight to the thing. You're going to be with me when I go. Here, I'm going over here. And I'm going to go here, and I'm going to pray that. And I'm going to look. Here we go. An excessive or insatiable desire for wealth or gain. Okay. Oh, not good. Okay, here we go. Let me get rid of that. Okay. And a financial advisor accused the bank of harboring a culture of unchecked greed, avarice, and misogyny. Am I saying that right? Let me see. I hope this isn't copyright.
Avarice.
Did you hear that? Avarice. An excessive or insatiable desire for wealth or gain. Let's go back to this. One of the largest banks in the world accused the bank of harboring a culture of unchecked greed, avarice, which means greediness, an insatiable desire for wealth or gain, and misogyny. So to me, I know this sounds crazy, but as far as unchecked greed and avarice, I think that's true of a lot of organizations and a lot of the people that work in them. And I don't know that it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just kind of the way it is. Anyway, in a federal workplace complaint saying it undermined her by excluding her from client meetings and taking away her resources. Okay. So it's a federal workplace complaint. Now, I don't know if she has her own lawyers working on this one or if she just went the normal route. But we'll find out. Okay. It says Gwen Campbell, who I've never heard of, brought $1.1 billion in assets when she moved to JP Morgan in 2020, was subject to name calling and sexist decrees, according to the complaint filed with the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission on Friday. Former New York Yankees star Alex Rodriguez had been on Campbell's roster of clients. Okay, let's continue. Former New York Yankees star Alex Rodriguez had been on Campbell's roster of clients, according to people familiar with the matter, who asked not to be identified because the information is confidential. Great job, guys. Great job keeping your mouth shut. Among other things, Campbell was yelled at and belittled and called a nobody and confused and told to set her down, be nice, her lawyers said in the complaint. This leads me to believe that she has a group of lawyers that has filed suit to the Employment Commission. Campbell sued the bank in December in federal court, alleging that private bankers in a different unit have been ruthlessly poaching her clients. Campbell sued the bank in December. I'm just reading it because I'm trying to understand it. Campbell sued the bank in December in federal court, alleging that private bankers in a different unit have been ruthlessly poaching her clients. So, I don't even know what to make of that. I really don't. It says she dropped the lawsuit the same month to instead pursue claims against the bank in arbitration after a judge denied her request to temporarily bar fellow bankers at JP Morgan from soliciting business with the clients she brought with her when she was recruited from Bank of America. So she's saying this. She's saying, look, I'm a big shot at Bank of America. You recruited me and brought me over to JP Morgan. And then your own employees started poaching my clients once they had their contact information in the system. I'm putting that out there. I don't know that they use a unified system. I don't know if that's true. All I know is she feels that they were trying to take her clients. It says a federal court has already spoken on many of these matters, said JP Morgan spokeswoman Veronica Navarro. As we have previously communicated, we will investigate any employees' concerns that are escalated. So like we talked about this yesterday, what is the proper way to go through an organization when you feel some sort of wrong is being committed? Well, if you don't have any faith in the people above you to investigate a matter or solve a matter or work through a matter, then you've got a problem. You've got a problem. So let's continue. It says Campbell claims her job hasn't had an unpleasant start. You always want to make a good first impression. Clearly that didn't happen. She faced discrimination from her second day on the job when JP Morgan's head of advisor and client transitions and an all-male transition team assigned to help bring her clients over from Bank of America humiliated her on a Zoom call by informing her that she'd have to do administrative tasks and transition paperwork, according to the complaint. Let's go over that because, again, it's very difficult for me to understand things. I'm not a big reader. Let me check the chat just to make sure I'm not hurting anyone. I've got no one in the chat, so we can continue. Okay. Second day on the job when JP Morgan's she faced discrimination because of this. When the head of advisor and client transitions and an all-male transition team, what does that have to do with anything? Assigned to help bring her clients over from Bank of America, humiliate her on a Zoom call by informing her that she'd have to do administrative tasks and transition paperwork. What does that mean even? When Campbell protested, why would she protest? She was told to settle down, which is plainly a gender-based pejorative, her lawyers wrote. Settle down. It's very interesting because I wouldn't use those words. If somebody was, hey, calm down. Hey, let's talk about this. But you wouldn't want to do that to me because I'd get more angry because you did it. That's just me, though, I think. I don't know, is it really a gender-based pejorative? Do you think that way? Put that in the comments or put it in the chat because I don't think of it as a gender-based pejorative. Anyway, in the complaint, Campbell claimed that after she told colleagues about her experience on the video call, she faced retaliation with a potentially weeks-long transition process being dragged out to more than 6 months, leading to a loss of $100 million in assets and costing her $1 million in compensation. So the second day, she was humiliated, she feels. She doesn't want to do administrative tax or transition paperwork. When she caused the issue and they told her to settle down, she was then given the retaliation of a weeks-long transition process being dragged out to more than 6 months, leading to a loss in her back pocket of $1 million in compensation. Just wow. Even before Campbell joined the firm in October 2020, her manager told colleagues that he would have preferred to recruit a male financial advisor, but was told that he had to hire a woman, she alleged in the complaint. Now, this is not unusual to me, but it's racist. It's not racist. It's sexist. Your employer, your manager, should not be required to hire a woman or a man. They should be required to try and hire the best person for the job. It's very hard for this woman, no offense, to claim discrimination when the reason she was hired was discriminatory. This is the way it looks to me. You can say it's not true. You can say you're wrong. That's what we got the chat for. Happy to, man, I was supposed to do something and I didn't this morning. And now I'm too tired to do it. Isn't that something? Anyway, let's continue. This demonstrates that J.P. Morgan viewed Campbell only in terms of her gender and not for her value as a professional financial advisor, she said. Now, listen, I don't think this is controversial, but if I knew I could get a job because of my characteristics, okay, I would use my characteristics to get the job. Like things I can't change, I'm using those. And especially if they're considered, like hireable, like I'm doing it. This is me. I bet let's just put it this way. Elizabeth Warren, you see how she was an Indian for a long time? Then all of a sudden she wasn't. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Use whatever you can to get wherever you can go. This is the game. Play it. Don't say you're better than that. Don't be better than that. That's dumb. Why penalize yourself for what other groups of people have assigned value to? Just go for it. But here, she was hired in her own words because she was a woman, and now she is being discriminated against because she's a woman. It feels like she's got it both ways. Again, not a complaint, just an observation. Trading desk colleagues said Campbell was confused when she called them out for denying her compensation related to a trade executed on behalf of her largest client, a billionaire businessman, she claimed. Okay, let's go over this. Trading desk colleague says Campbell was confused when she called them out for denying her compensation related to a trade executed on behalf of her largest client, a billionaire businessman. One trader even suggested Campbell did not understand what a profit and loss sharing was or how a trading desk worked, notwithstanding her years of experience on the Goldman Sachs trading floor from earlier in her career, her lawyer said in the complaint. Well, that's the article. What do you make of this? Is it possible that there's a shred of truth to this? Yes. Yes. There's possibility that there's a shred of truth to this. Is it disappointing that we're in this stage in the United States in 2022? Yes. It's very disappointing. However, I don't know what that was about because I'm not doing anymore. I'm leaving. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Did you find the same things in the article that I did? Perhaps you have a different take. I'd love to hear it. Put it in the comments, put it in the chat, and we're going to continue down the road. We may only get to this next article. I know that's crazy, but that article that we just went through, that was big on my mind. It had been on my mind all day long. How could you be a situation where like you were recruited and then it went so poorly? It's just bad. I hate when that happens. This is out of Toronto. I thought it was interesting because, you know, working, quote unquote, is something done throughout the world. And if we can get an insight into how other people are thinking, so be it. So it says, daycare workers are exiting the profession in droves just as access for parents opens up. Ottawa and provinces have planned to open thousands of new childcare spots by 2026. But current workplace issues could undermine these efforts before they begin. What's this about? 18 months into the pandemic, Patricia Noguera decided she'd had enough. She was tired of straining to communicate with children through a mask and face shield at the daycare center where she worked, worried about the germs her unvaccinated charges might be bringing in, and too exhausted to muster the positive everything is going to be okay attitude she knew parents expected of her. Snacks and lunch could no longer be served all together at one table. Each child had to be served individually, and their stations carefully sanitized several times a day. Anytime a child had a toy in his mouth, it would have to be quickly intercepted and disinfected before it could be handed to another kid. Well, I'm okay with that. No offense. Like anytime, no coronavirus pandemic or any other pandemic, anytime actually, if like you've got a toy in your mouth, like you need to clean it before you give it to another dude or another woman. Or a kid. I mean, it's just weird. While primary and secondary school teachers were being prioritized for vaccinations, daycare employees like her were being ignored. It felt like I was worth nothing, she says. She quit her job last August and became a nanny, a position that pays less per hour but feels more manageable. The long hours and emotional toll of institutional childcare were just too much, she said. Now that she's away from the chaos of the classroom and the risk of infection from dozens of families, she says her anxiety levels are lower and she feels safer. Okay, so I don't really understand this, but let's continue. But while the job change is positive for Ms. Noguera, it's bad news for the federal government's plan to bring affordable $10 a day child care to families across the country. Ms. Noguera, I say Ms. because it's hard to get the Z of, and then the Noguera. I have a doctor that we had for years named Dr. Noguera, and so I'm trying to not slip up. Has joined a steady stream of early childhood educators who are exiting the profession at a time when demand for their services is set to dramatically expand. The federal government's plan is expected to create 146,000 new child care spots by 2026, according to estimates by the Canadian Child Care Foundation. Or Federation, I read it wrong. And you can see it on the screen, though, I think. Yes, you can. Okay. And generate tens of thousands of new jobs for childcare workers. But without addressing the workforce issues and staffing shortages already plaguing the daycare sector, provinces and territories may not be able to meet the requirements. More than 38,000 new early childhood educators will need to be hired to accommodate the provincial deals signed with the federal government so far, according to an estimate from the Canadian Child Care Federation. And that number doesn't include Ontario, the most populous province in the country, which hasn't yet signed a deal. Finding new workers won't be easy. Employees, researchers, and child care advocates say daycare staff, many of whom earn little more than minimum wage, report feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, and underpaid. A survey of early childhood educators' well-being conducted by the Association of Early Childhood Educators Ontario found that 60% felt their salaries do not reflect the work they do, and 68% said they feel worn out. Now, it's only 60%. I hate to say this. I hate to bring this up, but everyone I know believes they should be paid more, no matter if they're being paid six figures or $10 an hour. Like, how can only 68%? How can only 60% feel their salaries do not reflect the work they do? It just seems like a low number. Everywhere in Canada, including Quebec, we're suffering from a major problem of retention of qualified early childhood educators, says Maura Ballantyne, executive director of Childcare Now, an advocacy organization. So you've got a organization called the Association of Early Childhood Educators. You've got an association. You've got, oh my God. So you've got an activist group, Canadian Childcare Federation. You've got an activist group, Early Childhood Educators Ontario. And then you've got Childcare Now, an advocacy organization. 3, so far, the daycare conversation is centered on affordability and how vital childcare is to supporting women returning to the workforce. Nearly 100,000 women left their jobs from the start of the pandemic to March of 2021, according to an analysis by RBC. The figure for men was 10 times less. The monthly cost to parents, even for just one child, can be steep. Across Canada, the median monthly fee for infant care was $995. In Toronto, it was $1,866 a month. But experts say the staffing is the real challenge. You can talk about expanding childcare until you're blue in the face, but you don't have people to work these programs. It's not going to happen, says Brooke Richardson, president of the AECEO, which would be the Association of Early Childhood Educators Ontario. So what are we to make of this? Canada has signed agreements with cities or locales to help provide early childhood education for the people, the populace. And apparently the people that want to work these jobs are worn out and feel that they're not being paid accordingly to their value. I don't know what to make of this. It's a very fascinating issue. I think that you're going to have to pay them more. That's what I think. What do you think? I'm going to cut it down to that one. I'm looking around. I don't see anybody in chat. I don't see anybody on the stream besides me. But what did we learn today? Well, we learned that if you're going to be recruited, sometimes it's not a good fit. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. Just sometimes it's not a good fit. Now, you have to ask yourself, how did these high net worth individuals end up with a person that worked at Bank of America and then moved on to JP Morgan? Very odd. But remember, I guess if there's anything I can say that would, be helpful to you is, look, when you're being recruited, remember the recruiter can lie. They can lie about the organization. They can lie about how great of a place it is to work. And you need to be on guard. The best things that I have read that you're supposed to do is you're supposed to talk to former and current employees, and then look for negative reviews online. Look for negative YouTube videos online about the organization, and then make your decision. I don't know. I feel bad for the woman. Clearly things aren't working out for her. And, I don't know. Well, I am starting to lose it. I'm tired. You've been a wonderful audience, all of you that aren't watching right now. But that's okay. We're just started. I don't think we've done even. I'm going to go look since you're here. We've only done, well, it's taking a while. We've only done 20. We've only done 20 episodes So I'd say we're doing okay to start. Like, I'd like to get the first 100 down and see how it goes after that. But I won't be here tomorrow night. Remember, I'm going to be taking the day off on Sunday. I'll come back again Monday night. Thank you for watching. If there's anything, if there's any questions you might have, you can put them in the comment section. I'll probably answer it. I read everything right now. There's not that many. And then if you ever feel the need, come and chat. But one thing I would appreciate, if you have the time, and it helps me a tremendous amount, is if you could hit the subscribe button. I believe I have 8 or 9 subscribers. It sure would be nice to have 20. I'd be okay with that for right now. So if you could help me, I'd appreciate that. I'm going to head on out. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you this Monday at 9 p.m. Same place, same channel. Later.